Meanwhile, the crisis at the border is getting worse, certainly more dangerous as we speak. Suspected cartel gunmen are now firing on our National Guard troops. Here's Texas Governor Greg Abbott with me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures.
There is something that's happening that's getting even worse, and that is the cartels are getting even more aggressive. And the cartels on the Mexican side of the border, they're beginning to open fire on the National Guard that the Texas has down on the border to secure the border. This is escalating into a firing war.
Wow, and we did not think it could get any worse. Joining me right now is the National Border Patrol Council Vice President. He is the Border Patrol agent, Art Del Cueto. And Art, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here. Tell me what happened with this gunfire.
You know, when you see something like this, what happens is you have the cartels embolden themselves because you have an administration that's allowing this lawlessness. From January to now, you've seen agents get moved from one area to another area of the border where you've seen the large groups, the caravans, as people have said, and it's distracted, you know, this agents, having them have to take care of those spots, process. So what happens now is you have the cartels, they're emboldened. They think they can do whatever they want because you have an administration that's not doing anything against them. So that is what this is a prime example of what happens when you're inviting criminal elements into our country. Now they think they control the border, which they have been, let's be honest. But when you start seeing something like this, it's something that's very dangerous. And this administration has to, at some point, realize that there's a problem. All the while, where's our borders are?
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you, last week this program was at the border. We took Mornings with Maria to the southern border to visit Del Rio. This was the third time for me that I was at the border, and I certainly have been able to watch this crisis get worse, first going to El Paso, then to McAllen, Texas, and now Del Rio. Tell me how you've seen this expand and where it's moving now. One of your colleagues, Brandon Judd, last week told us he made 5 arrests in a week in Yuma, Arizona.
Yeah, now you're seeing the groups come in Yuma. Right, now you're seeing that it was several weeks of 5,000 arrests down in Yuma. But what's important and the people need to understand is, of those arrests, how many of these people are actually getting sent back to their country and how many are getting released? From January to now, we're close to 2 million individuals that have been released into the United States. That is 100% unacceptable.
That's incredible. Yeah, I mean, we're not getting any honesty on this either from the administration. We want to know how many people were released into the country and where are they going. You just saw pictures of me talking with some migrants that I met when they first crossed the border, and they told me they were going to Boston. And I was like, what's in Boston? And he said, I have friends in Boston. So we don't know what cities they're going to. I have sources telling me that private jets are dropping people off at private airports as well. Is that what you're hearing?
You're seeing all kinds of different things going on right now. And once again, it falls on the hands of the current administration because they've allowed that. They've had an open invitations from January to now saying, hey, come. They're not really paying attention to what the asylum cases are. They're just passing everything through and waiting for them to see an immigration judge or an asylum officer. And those cases could take up to 2 years. In which case, they're never going to show up. This is a problem that's going to affect us for many, many years to come.
Well, and you're talking about the people who are apprehended. Unfortunately, we spoke with a number of ranchers and farmers when we were there at the border last week, and they're getting their homes attacked, threatened, their land threatened. They're cutting fences by the gotaways, those people who just got away. And, you know, unfortunately are in the country with likely bad intentions, because if they had good intentions, they would want to get apprehended. And in the middle of this, President Biden's pick to run Customs and Border Protection, Tucson Police Chief Chris Magnus faces his confirmation this week. Immigration hawks are worried about Magnus's views, calling his record downright dangerous. Your thought on this new leadership coming in?
I'm in Tucson, Arizona. I have friends that work with Tucson Police Department, and they've kind of smirked when they said, you know, hey, here's the new pick. And I mean, all I've heard was better you guys than us at this point, or thank you for, taking him over. And that's sad. I haven't had any interaction with him other than, and being in Tucson, other than, several years ago, there was assistance that was needed on an escape, and he was less than helpful, I can tell you that.
Art, real quick before you go, you're in Tucson. What are you seeing in Tucson? Do you see a lot of gotaways coming to Tucson? Because when I was at the border back in McAllen, we were told that gotaways are being arrested in Tucson. What are you seeing in Arizona, so that you can give us a picture on how this is moving from Texas even into Arizona now?
Well, I think the difference in Arizona, specifically in Tucson, is that you have, different variables that you see throughout the country all in one sector. And some individuals don't realize that. Even some of our own leadership doesn't realize that. And they fail to come out here and see what's going on. So definitely the gotaways are a big thing down here. But at the same time, we need to understand that the drug cartels are still controlling a lot of the border, specifically out here. You have members of different cartels, and they're bringing in heroin, fentanyl, and we're seeing those numbers increase out here as well.
Wow, what a shame. Art, great to have you this morning. Thanks very much for weighing in on all of that. Art Del Cueto joining us this morning in Tucson.